And that's what brings us here tonight, this opportunity to either select somebody that can actually lead in Washington, or somebody that can win a convention and historically lose continually all the time, as our party has chosen. In this Class 3 Senate race, the last guy who held this position was Prescott Bush in 1952. Other than that, the guys in State Central and everyone else continually to roll the dice and continue to get it wrong, but at least they're consistent. What I'm trying to do is, sorry guys, walk the way I am. As you can tell with this accent, I'm not originally from here. I grew up in Queens, New York.
All right.
I'm doing my best here to speak English that you guys can understand with this accent. Like I said, I grew up in Queens. My parents were first-generation Americans and emigrated from Hungary. They followed the American dream. My dad was a brilliant engineer, and he developed a product that's still used in the aerospace industry today. I was one of 3 brothers, grew up in Queens, graduated Manhattan College, and was a teacher. I was a Jasper, right? So, you know, my job in my life, this is my focus, was that I was a lifeguard, a ski instructor, and a martial arts instructor. So life was pretty good. I was actually getting paid for watching people at the beach. It was really great. But my dad running this business, I realized his sacrifices and how important it was, you know, to keep to your word. My dad was one of these guys from the old country that when you shook his hand, first he almost broke your fingers, but he meant it, and that was bigger than any contract, and that's the way I was brought up. So when he came to me after I graduated college and asked me to take over the family business that he had started in the late 50s, and he looked me in the eyes and he shook my hand, and that meant something to me. It was a career that I did not want to choose, but I answered the call to my dad and took that small family-owned business in the aerospace industry and grew it into a multinational manufacturing operation called the Phoenix Group. This company had 50 people working in America, another 50 in Europe, and we were making components and systems for people like Electric Boat, Sikorsky, United Technologies, most of the guys in the aerospace industry. And I took my dad's lead that my handshake was everything. That's what our deal was, that we would fulfill. Now, also on top of running that business, the other thing that I really believed in was serving my community and putting back into my community. So as the father of 3 kids, I was the baseball coach, the soccer coach. I don't even like soccer, never did, but I did the soccer coach. And the same guys in the community who do one thing do 10, but that's what you do when you answer the call. What I also did was I joined the volunteer fire department in my community, and then flash forward to September 11th, and I answered that call on September 11th. And I responded. I was buried during my service down there for 2 hours in the rubble. And that changed my entire life, forever. First, to remember, knowing that 9/12 actually came. That after the worst, the most horrible time in my lifetime, that the best things could yet to become. And me being buried beneath ground, I prayed to God to either get me out or take me quickly. And his choice was to guide me out of that tomb. And my commitment to him was, if you get me out of here, I promise to dedicate my life to serving you. I had no idea what that was going to be. So 3 weeks later, after my service at Ground Zero, I'm hanging out with, paying tribute to one of my buddies who died down there at a funeral, and angels that God sprinkles around in our life when you become illuminated to such things. An angel was delivered to me who became my wife, Monica Carrera. And I'm going to applaud you for putting up with me. I'm going to hear it tonight, I know it. But what she did was she gave me a purpose in my life, and the rescuer was rescued by an angel. And what God gave us the chance to do was to visit her home country of Ecuador, and we started a charity foundation called Gear Up Foundation. And that's where you guys may have seen me on television on the Today Show, on Cavuto, and many other appearances, where we donate fire trucks and equipment and goodwill around the world to poor firehouses. We also start schools for children, and this was our life's work. I walked away from that $10 million plus a year business, gave it to my brothers, and fulfilled my commitment to God, answering the call. And that charity has been our life's work ever since. So what I'm saying to you is there are many more important things in life than making lots of money and doing things supposedly business oriented. And that commitment was to serving, and we continue to do so around the world. Now, a small event happened in Washington called 9/12, where last year there was a small intimate gathering of Tea Party people, nearly 2 million, and I had the honor of speaking at that event. And for me, I took Monica's hand and stood up there and looked at this incredible crowd of Americans who are obviously very radical, like all of us. We care about our country. This is our future, guys. And right now, I see America in such peril. We're in a crisis and an emergency. And I believe we need CPR in this country, Citizen Patriot Response. We, the people, are finally getting involved in our government. And it's time that we take the hose to Washington and hose them down, because they've been hosing us way too long. When I say I'm not running for anything, guys, I'm answering the call to serve. And if you can set up yourself in a situation at the most challenging time of your life, you didn't run away from something, you run into it. That's what I see is happening in Washington. We, the people, have to step in and intercede in a government that decides that it's right to apologize for America around the world. Not on my watch, I'll tell you that. Our blood has been spilt all over the world defending liberty and freedom. Giving rights, U.S. constitutional rights to terrorists, welcome to the Twilight Zone. While they do this, they take away my son, who's a serving U.S. Marines, rights as a soldier to protect himself and his other soldiers. Everything seems to be upside down. And unless we get involved and get into this mess and fix it, it's going to be shame on us. Now, I also believe this isn't just a 2-year plan that this has happened. 30 to 40 years of America compromising and settling on our moral compass being tampered with. This is not just an economic issue, as some people want you to believe. Economics come from the general path of who we are as people. If we're willing to sacrifice the rights and the life of the most vulnerable amongst us, our unborn, what else are we willing to sacrifice? As a first responder and a firefighter, I'm ready to give my own life to save a total stranger. So for me, I choose. I'm pro-choice, but I choose life. There is a choice. That's my choice. And I'm not the morality police, but everyone knows where I stand on this. Now, if you take your moral compass and you hold up a prop, which if I can find it, it'd be great, but this is our Constitution, guys, and people can hold this up and say lots of things, but the bottom line is this is our roadmap. Everything we need to know is in here. A little common sense. First off, they're not teaching our kids about this in school. God forbid that our kids know our history and our roadmap. But if we ignore a roadmap, what happens? We get lost. I put to you that America has lost its way, and it's been done intentionally for 30 to 40 years. Now, with your moral compass compromised and no roadmap, that's a pretty tough road to follow, guys. I'll finish with a quick letter. It's about a minute and a half max. And I know you guys gave me this time here tonight, and you didn't expect me, but you'll expect me at that convention, I'll tell you that. There's some stuff happening. We're going to change the rules every night until the convention because we just feel like doing it. I'm just in State Central right now. All right. This is a letter. I started this race as an independent, even though I've been a lifelong Republican. And the reason I did that was because I didn't believe that our party was fully representing the core of who we are. Conservative, Republican, grassroots Americans that love this country. And a letter that came to me says this: good luck with the Republicans. I have this one request. Let them know you're the perfect new Republican candidate, born of the Tea Party, branded with conservative values, not a country club member, worn a blue collar as a volunteer firefighter who answered the call on 9/11, live in a culturally diverse family, father of the U.S. Marine, headed a business with a heart in education, a citizen politician who again is answering the call to do the right thing. That you're not in there for the annuity or to live off the taxes of others, not for the bennies nor for the perks, but to soldier up the same kind of courage that it took to run into machine gun fire on Omaha Beach, or fight the world's best army at Lexington and Concord, or draw fire as a point man on patrol in Vietnam or Fallujah. That even a scintilla of that kind of courage is all it takes to say no to expanded government, say no to spending money long ago gone, stand in opposition to the National Suicide Pact that is political correctness, to have the character to turn down the highest bidder, and never forget you're sworn to support and defend the Constitution, not the Republican Party or your own self-interests, and that at all times your concern is and always will be Connecticut first and America always. Ladies and gentlemen, I am answering the call for you, as one of you. And if you ever hear me say or do anything that's considered politically correct, it'll be completely by accident. Thank you very much. God bless you.